Hello, it's Guy Arnold here, author of Great or Poor and Sales Through Service and Go the Extra Inch. I'm here today to talk about feedback. Feedback. Now, feedback in today's market with the customer being empowered is essential. If you don't get feedback from your customers, they'll think you don't care, and they'll be right. And you won't know what's happening and what's changing until it's too late. It will have changed and gone ahead before you've even had a chance to deal with it. So feedback's essential. It helps you to use your customer to become your greatest and most powerful consultant. Okay, and I know about consultants because consultants charge a lot of money and sometimes don't deliver a huge amount of value. Now, but listening to your customer through feedback will. Now, what do most people do when trying to listen to their customer? They run customer satisfaction surveys. So when you've been on a website, they say, would you mind taking part in our survey? Or you get an email through, please take part in our survey. Or if you've been on a telephone call, will you mind hanging on at the end of the call to take part in our survey? Or you get a piece of paper through the post and fill in our survey. Or you get a card in your hotel room. Let us know what you think. Are you going to do that? Do you do that? Of course not. The figures all say that these sort of surveys have low response rates, bugger all use to anyone, and just waste people's time and annoy people. Indeed, we were dealing with one client, a major bank, who was saying that their survey was so bad that it actually upset the customers and put customers off who already thought they were great. So the survey was actually destroying customer loyalty. So lesson number one about feedback: don't do customer surveys. Don't do web stuff. Don't do all this survey monkey and all this sort of old stuff. Just, it's free, great. It's also useless and has very little value to your business from a customer satisfaction survey point of view. The customer satisfaction surveys don't work. You need to get feedback. Now, how are you going to get feedback? Well, there's a number of different ways you can get feedback. If you are a pub or a hotel, you might want to operate a token system or something like that. But more importantly, the best way to get feedback is through telephone calls. Now, you can do this. This really depends on the type of business you have, so it's important to get feedback right for the type of business you have. But telephone calls is the key thing, because telephone calls show that you're interested. Telephone calls have body language through tone and intonation of your voice, and telephone calls are not in your face. Face to face is far too much in your face, whereas paper and web, no response, no value, just annoy people. Okay, so telephone is the key way to do this. Okay, so how are you going to do it? Well, my suggestion is you look at it in two ways. Number one, run your own feedback. You make courtesy calls to customers to check they've got your order, check what things have gone right. So an ongoing process of courtesy calls commensurate with the size of the order or the relationship with your customer. You may want to phone them after every order, you may want to phone them once a month, you may want to phone them once a quarter, you may want to phone them once a year. The frequency of this has got to depend on your business and the size of the order and the type of business you're in. Okay, so that's one way, gather your own feedback. But if you do that, get the customers right. Do it for the right reasons. Do not do it to sell stuff to people. They'll see right through you. So your intent is critical to get clear, and it's critical to get the right questions. We can help you with this. We'll make sure you get the right questions. We will train and coach your people to make sure they do it the right way. They listen empathically to what the customer is saying to them. They ask the right questions to peel the onion and get the right results. So please don't do that without help. If you do it without help, you're likely to cock it up. I'm sorry, but that's the case. You will cock it up. You've got to get someone who knows what they're talking about to get that right. So get that set up with an expert. Make sure they know what they're doing. And please remember, most sales and marketing experts don't know about feedback. Okay? Get feedback right. It's critically important. Use a feedback expert. Okay, so that's one way you can do it yourself, but do it with help. The second way is make sure you have a third party gathering feedback from critically important clients and continually gathering feedback to double check your feedback is correct and customers aren't just being nice to you because they don't feel too awkward, too embarrassed to tell you the truth. So get a third party to do it. Customers will always tell the third party the truth. So many times we go into businesses and we do feedback for them, and then things we find out about that business that business didn't know about. The customers tell us in about 2 or 3 hours. Working with a client here just last week, we got them 2 new customers from a list of lapsed accounts through feedback. Got them 2 new customers in under an hour. Unbelievable. Just that particular thing paid for the whole intervention our business did with that customer. Incredible. Okay, so get a third party to check your feedback and do overriding feedback to quality control it, make sure it happens. And third parties also can do fantastic feedback from lapsed clients. Okay, because lapsed clients don't want to hear from you, because they won't tell you the truth. So use a third party like us to talk to all your lapsed clients and find out why they've left you, what they're using for your services now, and is there a way that they'd like to talk to you again in the future. So that's feedback. Get it right. Do it well. It'll build your business cost effectively with really tiny amount of cost. You know, forget all this sales and advertising and marketing expense that you're putting in place at the moment. Put 10% of that budget into feedback and you will reap huge rewards, and then you'll probably save the rest of the 90% of your sales and marketing budget just by doing feedback in a fantastic way. So there it is. You know where to find us. Our details are on the video. Call us today. We got free information. We will help you whether you pay us or not. And there is no obligation to use us if you contact us. Hope to speak to you soon. Cheerio.